How's it going, y'all? It's me, Space Cadet, and today's gonna be a little different. If you'll notice, I got some gameplay in the background, and I ain't got my face anywhere. And I'm just gonna be telling a story. I was thinking of some new content I can put out, and I was thinking, and I realized I had a lot of fucked up stories from my childhood, so I figured I'd just tell a couple of them on here. Drop a like if you like, drop a sub if you want to. And what a better place to start than one of my first injuries and one of my most painful injuries as well. I'm talking about the time I broke my arm, or to put it in better words, the time my brother broke my arm. This one starts all the way back when I was in 7th grade. Or no. This was like my 6th grade year. This happened like my 6th grade year, the summer of 6th grade. Back when me and my brother would fight all the time, like most siblings do. We would just fight over the most random nonsense bullshit ever. And on this day, I'd stolen his phone. I'd stolen my brother's phone. And I was playing some games on it, hiding out in my room. And my brother was busy at the time. I don't know what he was doing, but he had to get some stuff done. He was probably doing homework or something. And I was just chilling out in my room, and I knew he would not like that. He was super protective over his phone. He's worse than a high school girl over his phone at this time in his life. But at the time I didn't care. I just wanted to play my little Minecraft game or whatever. And it's probably important to mention that my parents aren't home at this time. They both had full-time jobs, and like I said, it was during the summer, so me and my brother were just left at the house to fend for ourselves, which looking back at it probably wasn't the safest thing for me, because my brother was not the most stable, let's say that. But I'm chilling out in my room, playing on the phone. Parents aren't home, and I ain't got a care in the world. And I start hearing footsteps. And as soon as I hear those footsteps, I knew it was on. Just by the sound of his footsteps walking through the house, I knew that he knew what I had done, and that it was on. And my bedroom didn't have like a lock on it or anything. None of the doors in the house had locks on them. Besides my parents' bedroom door, none of the other rooms have locks on them. So there's no hiding from my brother and the wrath that he is about to unleash. And he comes into my room, and he knows I'm playing on his phone, so he asks me, "Where's my phone at? Where's my phone at? Give me my phone." And I'm just like, "I ain't got it, bro. Bro, I'm sorry, but you're looking at the wrong guy. I don't know. You must have put it down somewhere else, bro. I don't know." And he doesn't buy it. He doesn't buy it one bit. He knows I'm full of shit. So he's just like, "Give me my phone," and I won't. We start getting into a little kid brawl, and the matchup is not close. My brother at this time was much stronger and bigger than I was, but I wasn't about to go down without a fight. I was punching, and I was kicking, and I was doing everything in my power for him to just leave me alone with the phone. And I was just trying to fight him off, and he's just not having it. He's just like, "Bro, stop. This isn't worth it. This is stupid. Just give me my phone." And I'll just beat a fucking jackass, and I'm not letting him have his phone. And he gets so mad. We're kind of both knelt down and kind of like grappling each other almost. The blows have died down, and we're just wrestling each other at this point. And he just throws and out of nowhere, he just throws his arm into my side, and he just turns around, and I come with him, and over pretty much he like hugs me with one arm and picks up, and then just leans over, and fully just both of us just slab onto the ground. And the way that I end up is like he's got his chest to my back, and my arm is underneath the both of us, and it is painful. I just immediately feel this surge of pain shoot up my arm, and I knew that something was wrong. The phone was no longer a priority. I didn't give a fuck about the phone anymore, and I'm like, "Bro, my arm's fucked." like this shit hurts. Get off. Like this went from rough housing to oh fuck so fast. And in my little 14-15-year-old mind, I was freaking out. No, I was younger than that. I was like, what? How old are you in like the 6th grade? Like 11? God, I was so young back then. Yeah, we both slam onto the ground, my arms tingling, like my finger, some of my fingers go numb. I'm not feeling my elbow at all. And I'm like, bro, I don't even, like, I can't move it. I can't, like, I'm just fucked here. I can't, you gotta help me or something. And he doesn't care. He's like, whatever. He's still mad about the phone. So he gets his phone and he storms off, and I'm just left there. And I'm like, at first it doesn't hurt. At first it doesn't hurt. And as soon as I go to get off of the floor, as I'm just there cradling my arm on the ground, and I'm just like, bro, can I at least get off the floor? Can you at least help me off the floor? Like, I can't do anything here. I just gotta babysit my arm for the time being. And he thinks I'm overplaying it. He thinks I'm being a big baby. So he doesn't help me. He storms off, and I lay there for a good hour or so. Like I said, my parents weren't home. They weren't going to be home for a little bit. They had work. So I'm just sitting here trying to not move. At this point I'm just hoping it's not broke, even though it clearly is. There's no shot. And I'm trying to like figure out ways to like hide this from my parents. I'm scheming, and but in reality there's just no way you could, I was gonna hide a broken arm from my parents. Like, I'm just gonna thug it out. Like, I'm just gonna thug it out with this broke arm for the next few months while it heals with no cast. But eventually my brother kind of comes to his senses, and he kind of understands the situation a little better, and God bless him, he tries his best to help me up towards the couch. But looking back at it, it was just me brute forcing my way off of the floor, and him being a motivational cheerleader. But he tried his best. So eventually I claw my way onto the couch with one hand and trying to support my arm with my body, trying to keep it as level and as flat and as still as possible. So I finally get up onto the couch, and I realize that there's no getting out of this. Is my arm is broken, and that my parents have to now come home and deal with this. So I get my brother to call up my parents, let them know what's going on. There's like, okay, we'll check it out when we get back to the house. And we brought up the fact that I should probably go to the hospital, but my parents, they always had to check it out themselves. It didn't matter what it was. They always had to check it out themselves. If it didn't pass their bar of, oh shit, this is bad, then good luck. You're sucking it up. Go get some Tylenol. We let them know I should probably go to the hospital. They're like, okay. They both finish their shifts, and I think my mom makes it home first. And at this point, my arm was very swollen. It had puffed up quite a bit, the whole arm. She just told me it was swollen and that it doesn't look broke. And I'm telling her that I'm in a lot of pain and need to go to the hospital. A bit more time passes, and my dad gets home, and he's actually the one that convinces my mom to take me to the hospital. And at this point, my memories literally get hazy. I remember trying to get off of the couch, but I was in so much physical pain. My arm stung so much. I remember it stung coming out of the elbow joint and just like pulsing through my arm. It's the kind of pain that I'd imagine getting hit in the elbow by a fast baseball would feel like. If you just got absolutely decked in the funny bone with a baseball, is kind of what this felt like. But I barely remember getting off of the couch and just the immense pain I was in. And I remember being in the car for the ride to the hospital, because I was mostly still for that. I'd laid down long ways in the back seat of my parents' car, and I was just holding my arm, just trying to keep it from moving at all. And we finally get to the hospital, and at this point the pain had kind of subsided. I had it held up to my chest, just kind of keeping it in one spot. Even when I walked into the hospital, walking hurt. Walking sucked a lot. But we get through the hospital waiting room, we go talk to a doctor for a little bit, and then we go take x-rays. And to be able to take x-rays of my arm, they have to lay it on a table. And this is by far the most painful part, because to take the x-ray, literally the nurse had to come take and remove my arm from my chest and stretch it out onto this x-ray table. And not only did it hurt, not only was the pain like a 10 out of 10, like not only was the pain very bad, not only did it hurt, the worst pain I've probably felt in my entire life. Not only did it feel like that, but you know the feeling you get when you know that something very wrong has fucked up with your car, or like you're not gonna be able to make it to your destination. That's what I kind of felt with my arm, because it just felt wrong moving it from my chest to the table. It felt like something was definitely not right in there, which I would argue is worse than the pain, because everybody knows what pain feels like, but just the weirdness of things not being in the right place, it took me by surprise for sure. Normally when I'm in this much pain, or if I'm in a lot of pain, I'll just go silent. I'll like tense up and freeze. But this time I just screamed. I screamed like a little girl. There was no shame, no hiding it, just full little girl screech. And after what feels like an eternity, my arm finally gets to the table, and you know the normal x-ray procedure. Everything's fine. This is perfectly safe. And then the nurse goes and stands 10 feet away behind some bulletproof glass and presses a button. And they've got to take pictures of both sides of my arm. So they now have to flip my ass over with me screaming in pain. My arm's fucked, and they now want to flip me over like a pancake. And bro, at this point I just stop complying. At this point I just give up. I'm like, I give up with moving. I'm like, I don't care, you guys do what you guys gotta do. I'm just gonna lie here, I don't really care. So they had to flip me over and take the x-ray the other side of my arm. And at this point, they give me a sling. They give me a sling for my arm while the x-ray people are doing their thing, while the x-rays are being developed or whatever. Now I'm just chilling in this patient room with my parents, with my arm in the sling, just waiting for time to pass, waiting for the nurse to come back to let us know what the x-ray showed. And we are waiting forever. It feels like an eternity in this room. It felt like hours, and I don't know if this was because of my arm or if they was just actually taking so long, but oh my god. And they finally come back in here with the x-rays, and they literally apologize for taking so long. They always do that when they walk into a room, but it's never sincere. This time the doctor was like, they must have actually took forever, because the doctor apologized. The doctor comes in and he tells me my arm's broken, but he didn't know for a while. He said he had to genuinely like study my arm over to try to find a break, because my arm was so swollen that it had actually kind of put everything back together, and that he would need another x-ray after the swelling went down to actually see how broken my arm truly was. So I'm like, fuck, I have to fucking stretch my arm out again. I actually don't think we ended up taking the second x-rays. I don't remember going back for second x-rays. I remember talking about it, or maybe my parents shut it down. Who knows? Either they got shut down, or I don't remember doing them. But either way, they're like, your arm's fucked. Your arm's broke for sure. So they wrap my arm up. I'd never seen like a broken bone being wrapped up before. They take regular like medical gauze and like wrap your arm, but then they take this like ace bandage looking stuff and they like run it under some water, and then they quickly wrap the fuck out of my arm with it, and they're going ham. And if you're not picking up on it quite yet, this stuff kind of works like concrete. Is where they literally keep it completely dry in a plastic wrap, in like plastic packaging, And then whenever they want to use it, they have to break it open and run it underwater. And before it hardens, they have to wrap it around whatever they need to. So the dude had to wash out the gauze and wrap it around my arm really quickly. It was weird to see. And it took about 3 months for my cast or for my arm to heal. I had to spend about 3 months with that fucking cast on. So pretty much my whole summer. It was pretty much my entire summer with that fucking cast on. And if I learned anything, it's probably don't be a dickhead to your older brother. They can definitely beat your ass. So that's about it for this one. I just kind of wanted to break it up from the normal style of videos. I hope you're looking forward to more of these kind of videos moving forward. I'm not gonna completely cut out the. I'm gonna try to do it like things I want to discuss is gonna be like a face cam video and like random stories I'm gonna have as like a gameplay video. Let me know down in the comments if you've ever broken a bone. And that's about it for this one. Peace.